Hello, guys and gals, me Mudahar, and sometimes I see things that make me really mad and laugh and just wonder how such stupidity could actually exist. Now, today I'm going to talk about one of the worst cyber attacks that I've seen ever. Now, I'm not even like excessively being like hyperbolic here. This is genuinely some of the dumbest shit you're about to hear right now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a couple months ago, I made a video where I said, oh, your passwords have been hacked. Now, in that video, I was talking about LastPass, the password managing service that had a massive breach way back then, and ever since, it somehow appears to have gotten worse. Now, ladies and gentlemen, cyber attacks are something I like to cover on my channel, but it's something that's become almost oversaturated. There's so many different cyber attacks that happen like every hour that covering them isn't as exciting as I guess it would be. So it really takes something massive for me to go out and make a video. Now, a couple days ago, you might have heard the U.S. Marshal Services ended up getting hacked. They had a security breach that was so massive that to report to the higher ups. Now, of course, thankfully in this case, their U.S. Marshal Service Witness Protection Program, the database wasn't leaked, which was the one thing that scared the crap out of me. I was like, man, if it's one thing I know the U.S. Marshals does, it's the Witness Security Program, the WITSEC system. And so far as I've understood, nobody in the WITSEC system has ever actually been exposed. If the database got leaked, whew, that would be super, super massive, like game-changing shit. Now, of course, that's one crisis averted, but going back to LastPass, what happened was apparently, it seems, one of the engineers might have actually ended up getting their corporate vaults stolen. So let's go over exactly what happened with LastPass. So last year, when I talked about LastPass, what effectively happened was it seems like an actual actor had exploited some vulnerability in a third-party software, according to them. And basically what had happened was they had accessed, non-production development, backup storage environments, so on and so forth. So to understand, according to LastPass, Incident 1, right, to recap, a software engineer's corporate laptop was compromised, allowing the unauthorized threat actor to gain access to a cloud-based development environment and steal source code, technical information, and certain LastPass internal system secrets. No customer data or vault data was taken during the incident, and there is no customer or vault data in the development environment. We declared this incident closed and later learned that the information stolen in the first incident was used to identify targets and initiate the second incident. So of course, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, the second incident really caused a massive ruckus. Now, of course, getting hacked is no shame. A lot of companies and a lot of governments, unfortunately, are going through a rough time right now. But what happened now is something that is honestly some of the most shameful stuff that I've ever seen out of any company. So what effectively happened was a DevOps engineer was involved, a senior DevOps engineer. Now, a DevOps engineer, for somebody that doesn't really know, introduces processes, tools, and methodologies to balance needs through a software development lifecycle, from coding to deployment to maintenance and updates. According to Red Hat, a DevOps engineer reduces the complexity, closes the gap between actions needed to quickly change an application, and the tasks that maintain its reliability. Development teams and IT operation teams can have different skills and different goals. Developers want to introduce new features to an application, while operation teams want to preserve the stability of an application once it's released. Some of the people inside here, one of their essentials is obviously security, which is basically accounting for and addressing software vulnerabilities. The reason I'm mentioning it is it makes an extra punch to this entire situation. Now, according to LastPass, what effectively happened was somebody had targeted one of their senior DevOps engineers and exploited vulnerable third-party software. The threat actor leveraged the vulnerability to deliver malware, bypass existing controls, and ultimately gained unauthorized access to cloud backups. The data accessed from those backups included system configuration data, API secrets, third-party integration secrets, and encrypted and unencrypted LastPass customer data. In response to the second incident, we again mobilized our incident response team as part of our ongoing containment, eradication, and recovery activities. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you might be like, well, god damn, that sounds really bad. Now, of course, it's interesting they mentioned third parties. So who was a third party? So inside one of their additional attacks, they said to access their cloud-based storage resources, the S3 buckets, which are protected with AWS S3 SSE encryption, so on and so forth, the threat actor needed to obtain AWS access keys and the LastPass generated decryption keys. So of course, the way that they did this was targeting a specific engineer's home computer and exploiting a vulnerable third-party media software package. So of course, when they say third-party media software package, it turns out that that package was called Plex. Now you might be like, what's Plex, Muda? Plex is basically a little media server tool that you can install onto your computer, a server, NAS, whatever, and you can copy all your video files onto it, and Plex will do the extra added benefit of finding all the metadata and creating, sort of like a Netflix-like library for you to watch your home movies on any device around your house. Now, it's not just Plex that you can use. There's like MB and various other pieces of software. Now, of course, in regards to this, what makes it even wilder is the DevOps engineer apparently had access on their actual workstation. They were just running some media server on it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you look back over there, you can see that there's a computer, a little gaming computer right back. I didn't buy that just so it looks cute in the background of the videos. That exists literally so that I can do things like virus investigations, things like in the future, I want to just re-go back into that deep web browsing, whatever, and it serves as an air-gapped system, meaning that I can run whatever I want on that system and it runs on its own network, jailed off from the rest of my house. In fact, I can play games like Valorant on it without any forms of, letting that system touch any other computer around my house. It literally exists so I can have a separate system just so I can run all the shady third-party crap that I want without ever breaching my actual personal computer safety. Now, if I'm doing that as a fat Indian YouTuber, I expect one of the DevOps engineers for one of the most used password management applications to actually take their security seriously. Now, it gets even wilder because Plex ended up coming out and basically telling some of the publications that were covering this what actual exploit was used. So according to PC Mag, who were basically told from Plex that the vulnerability is CVE 2020-5741. So of course, when you look into it, right, you can see, hey, we've recently been made aware of a security vulnerability related to the media server. This issue allows an attacker to access the server's administration's Plex account and upload a malicious file via the camera upload feature and have the media server executed. So effectively, remote code exploitation. Now, if you're looking at the CVE, what's interesting is this is an update they already addressed in 2020, meaning the dipshit senior DevOps engineer that got targeted at LastPass literally was operating on a fucking software version that was over 70 iterations old. This all could have been avoided if this guy just updated the goddamn media server package they had running on their fucking computer office workstation. Again, this is how insane some of this gets into. All of this could have easily been avoided, okay? A lot of pain could have easily been avoided. A lot of company respect could have easily been salvaged if the engineer put any effort. This is one massive, dumb, idiot move that I've seen. And you know what? It's not even the engineer's fault either. The fact that the company was letting this happen on an actual workstation puts LastPass just as much to blame in this entire situation. Now, of course, when it comes to password managers, you have to understand, okay, the reason why password managers are important and why I'm covering it is this is a tool that you need, okay? To understand, there's 3 ways to tackle passwords on the internet, okay? You could either use the same password for every website, which is completely stupid, never do that. You could, remember every unique password in your brain, which I guess some people can, but when you're signing up to like 70 websites, that's not a feasible request to ask. Or you could use any password manager out there. Look, I use Bitwarden, but there's plenty of other solutions. You could have your own password manager. You could have your own seed running around in your house. Not a feasible thing for everybody. Not everyone's savvy enough to do that, but these options exist. The reason you use a password manager is so you can store unique passwords and also generate passwords. If it's something you need to know about how a password generator works or a manager works, is effectively they have their own entropic pools. So what entropy is for a computer is, you ever wonder how a computer can randomly generate things? It's not because there's some cool, unique thing behind it. It's because a computer, since the day that it's born, since the day the kernels are firing up, regardless of which system you're using, Windows, Linux, Mac, they all have the ability to generate their own entropic tables. So entropy is literally data that is collected from every aspect of your computer. Every time you move your mouse, every time you tap keys, every time your CPU jitters, you name it. All that data is collected and fed into a pool we call entropy. And when these password generators are called upon, they look into entropic pools and generate passwords there. I guess one of the best examples that I can show you is, here's a terminal that I have right here. And if I do, let me just zoom in real quick. If I do pwgen, password generator, it's a little program you can download. I'm going to generate a 20-character password, and I'm going to generate 5 of them. As soon as I hit enter, it has generated 5 passwords. Now I can run this 2 more times, and you'll see every single time these passwords are different. And you could change things around. You could add symbols. You can lowercase, higher case, do whatever you want. At the end of the day, these passwords didn't come out of nowhere. My computer, this program specifically, dug into my entropic table and decided to build passwords off of it. The more entropy you have, the more you use your computer, the more randomness is generated, the more secure these passwords become. Now, if you're wondering, but Muda, is this super secure? Listen, it's about as secure as anything is going to get, okay? This is why I generate all my passwords like this, meaning that anytime I hear like, oh shit, a password breach happened, I don't crap myself, because this is not going to be in a word list, and nobody is going to be breaching this with like brute force software anytime soon. If you want to look at another cool example of entropic tables, here's a terminal shell that I've called on, and you can actually write entropy to the graphic frame buffer. Want to see how to do it? You do cat. First off, you go super user, okay? Just for shits and giggles, okay? You do cat dev, all right, and then you do urandom, which is the entropic table here, the randomness generator, and then you do dev, and you do frame buffer 0. And of course, as soon as you hit enter, bam! We just filled all the garbage urandom entropic data into my graphic frame buffer. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, don't actually do this on your system. I do this under virtual machines because at the channel Some Ordinary Gamers, you too can see some truly useless computer advice tossed right to you. This is just dumb stuff that you shouldn't be doing. Terminal commands that can cause harm onto your system, kind of, until you power off the virtual machine. Now, of course, you could use any password generator, any password manager in this case, and I would highly recommend you steer away from LastPass, because this kind of incident, this kind of breach has caused such a loss of data, such a breach of data, that we're going to go look through it real quick. So what kind of data was accessed? Well, they said DevOps secrets, so restricted secrets that were used to gain access to the cloud-based backup storage. So those keys earlier, right? And then, of course, you've also got cloud-based backup storage. So basically your configuration data that contains stuff, API secrets, third-party integration secrets, customer metadata, backup of all customer vault data, all sensitive customer vault data, other than URLs, file paths to be installed, LastPass, Windows, or Mac OS software, and other use cases involving email addresses were encrypted using our zero-knowledge model and can only be decrypted with a unique encryption key derived from each user's master password. As a reminder, those master passwords are never known to LastPass, and they're never stored, meaning they weren't actually exfiltrated. And of course, they had a backup of the LastPass multi-factor authentication federation databases, contained copies of LastPass authenticator seeds, Jesus! Telephone numbers used for MFA backup options, if enabled, as well as a split knowledge component, the K2 key, used for LastPass Federation if you enabled. The database was encrypted, but the separately stored decryption key was included in the secrets stolen by the threat actor during the second incidents. At this point, it might actually be easier to detail what didn't end up getting leaked, Jesus Christ. I love this last part of their entire statement where, literally they had the balls to write this. Over the past 8 months, we've hired new leaders to help drive the company's growth and execute a new strategy. Our new team includes recognized industry veterans and leaders from security and tech industries. As part of the company's next phase of growth, we made a multi-million-dollar allocation to enhance our investment in security across people, processes, and technology. The investment drives our commitment to evolve LastPass into a leading cybersecurity company. Could you imagine writing that after having literally everything fucking leaked out? to the world. Could you imagine having the audacity to say this? Now, if you go to their Reddit board, yeah, there's people who are absolutely pissed about this whole situation. No joke about it. There's people who are willing to delete their actual accounts, done, call it a day. And I would highly recommend, if you use this service, delete your account, quit, cut your losses, and go home. Pool's closed, it's done. And it's kind of insane how, if you think about it, literally a software update could have easily bypassed this whole thing. Like, this is one of the things that kind of tilts me when people don't update their systems. I've seen dudes who've installed Windows like 4 years ago and have never touched Windows Update and complain every time the OS forces them to update. Look, I don't like Windows Update either. I don't like a lot of updating. I don't care too much because sometimes it does get in the way. But at the end of the day, if you're getting actual updates to your OS, to your programs, maybe give it a week. Okay, see how the update is, see the reviews, see if it's causing issues, but always update your systems, because even if like you think it's a hassle, half the time, sometimes all the update is are security patches and security fixes. And if you're not applying them to your systems, especially when you work in a cybersecurity company like this dunce, then yes, you ultimately, your actions, your lack of fucks reflects onto everyone around you. That's the problem here, okay? This lazy bastard, okay, literally could have updated their Plex service. Literally, I use Plex. It just tells you, hey, there's an update available. Would you like to apply it? Click the button. Hit yes. Go off. Jack off. Drink coffee. Take a crap. Come back. Whoa, updated system. That's all that had to be done in this situation. And it's kind of a shame that ultimately the people paying for it are the individuals that, you know. Now, of course, this concludes one of the largest jokes in computer cybersecurity history right now. I think people will be like remembering LastPass till the end of time at this point. This will probably be shown in like university classes on just how not to run a company. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the finale to the LastPass kerfuffle. And honestly, I'm here to see the train wreck go down. Honest to God, if you actually still use this product, run far away. You know, when it comes to like getting sponsors from a lot of these places, some of my most popular content is about, you know, cybersecurity, and it is about keeping your internet and traffic safe. The reality is, like, you know, it's very hard to promote any of these kind of products, and it's literally because of reasons like this. You know, the closest I get is like VPN products, which even then I have to contact the CTOs for the company and get them to like tell me in verbal writing, emails, that they are not using hard drives to store VPN information. It's all RAM based. And then I'll go through with the sponsorship. But sometimes you'll have antivirus solutions, password managers come up to you and be like, hey, you want to get sponsored? And the deals are great, but ultimately I'm promoting a piece of software that ultimately could have this situation. Look, at the end of the day, I think most of the cyber attacks, and the real grim part about it is you don't get to control, you know, just, you don't get to control it. You don't have any say over it. And that's why like promoting some of these products or like, you know, pushing them onto people is oftentimes very risky. Look, I don't use some of these products, therefore like pushing them, hell no. And at the end of the day, looking at just what happened to LastPass, again, this is something that could have happened with any piece of software. It's just unfortunate that out of anyone's control, literally the senior members of this company were so lazy that their inability to update systems, to update basic programs and packages, caused the absolute downfall of this company and, you know, caused the safety of a lot of the people using their software to plummet down to the core of the earth. It's an insane situation, ladies and gentlemen, but one that I wanted to look at, laugh at. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.